You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast. I am your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me is Ryan Moore, as usual. Again, this is a podcast for Patriots fans and by Patriots fans. And by God, we have made it to the regular season after 3 insufferable preseason games. I don't think I had fun watching any of them. We're finally in regular season. The 53-man roster is set-ish. We finally have some stuff to talk about that isn't, what'd you think about that preseason game last night? Because they were all brutal, especially that last one. It was brutal. I couldn't wait for cuts to happen, and they did. We have a kind of a light roster, I think, to tell you the truth, but we'll just get right into it. So the first segment I got lined up for us, obviously. Excuse me, Ryan. How have you been? Let's get you involved here.
I've been great. Just like you, I've been waiting for this fucking preseason to end, man. It's normally you can find some fun things in preseason. If you're a sicko like me, it was just blah. No, nothing exciting except for I guess like that Keishawn Boutte touchdown was pretty cool. But
yeah.
there hasn't been anything else. Oh yeah, 6th round receiver touchdown. That's the highlight. Whatever.
And obviously some crazy stuff happened with that quarterback room.
Oh yeah. We'll discuss that in a few minutes.
Yeah. So I'll give you the breakdown of this 53-man roster before I give you the segment here. There are some spots here that are a little questionable. Obviously, the quarterback room. Obviously, we dumped everybody but Mac Jones. Bailey Zappi's on the practice squad alongside Malik Cunningham and Big Sorley. We said bye-bye. We went and signed Matt Corral. If you remember him, he was a 3rd-round pick from the Panthers last year.
3rd-round pick just last year. Claimed him off waivers in Carolina.
Yep. So. And there's only 2 running backs on the roster, too, with Ramondre and Ezekiel Elliott. I don't see Ty Montgomery anywhere.
He's on the practice squad.
Kevin Harris, and then we traded away Pierre Strong. So it's a two-man front there. Our wide receiver room is about as expected. Nobody really got cut from this room. I don't think anybody notable. Demario Douglas and Keishawn Boutte both made the roster. Tight ends, only 2. Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki. I think that's good news that Mike Gesicki is progressing better than we thought. We did add 2 tackles to our rotation.
Oh, just a quick correction. There was a tight end added as well.
Today?
Pharaoh Brown from Houston, who Bill O'Brien coached. Apparently, he's a great blocking tight end. Not much as a receiver.
ESPN just didn't update it then. Okay, so we needed a blocking tight end. He fits. We added 2 tackles via trade. One in the Pierre Strong trade with Cleveland. Tyrone Wheatley Jr. And we went and got Vidarian Lowe from the Minnesota Vikings for a pick swap. The interior offensive line kind of remains the same. The right tackle situation remains the same. Defensively, nothing crazy, I don't think. Amir Speed made the 53-man, which is cool. Jack Jones, no designation on him right now as he goes through his court processes. But yeah, Ryan. Here was another one. We traded away Nick Folk to the Tennessee Titans for a 7th-round pick.
Got a lot of good old kicker trade.
Basically saying that Chad Ryland is the man for this season. But Ryan, I asked you to come prepared this podcast, and you always do.
Yes, sir.
I wanted you to give me your initial reaction to this roster, as well as a player you think will stand out in 2023, and one that should have been cut.
All right. So my standout player is going to be Marte Mapu. And I say this because we talked about this a couple weeks ago with his versatility and stuff like that. He's going to get on the field. And when he was on the field versus the Titans, you could feel his presence, And man, I kind of slept. I remember talking about I don't think he can completely lay the boom. No, I'm sorry. I was wrong there. That he hits like a truck. He's athletic. He's ultra versatile. Yeah, he's not going to be a Dante Hightower type run stopper, but that's not the NFL we live in anymore. It's all athleticism, all versatility from the linebacker spot, and he brings it. I think he's going to be one of those guys. Wouldn't shock me, 80, 90 tackles his rookie year. Maybe a couple picks, couple forced fumbles. He's going to be a menace, and I can't wait. my player that I was surprised made the roster. And it's honestly because, my buddies and I joke about like him kind of being like a Ponzi scheme, a money laundering scheme. Sean Wade.
Yeah, we
He's
traded
been,
for him like max rookie year
yeah.
just
It's
before
fairly
that
high on
preseason
him
ended.
coming out of
Yeah,
Ohio State.
real good slot corner in college.
Yeah. And what has he done in the NFL with New England?
Healthy scratch.
Not literally nothing. He kind of like, there's nothing against the guy. I watched. I'm 15 minutes away from Ohio State's campus. I've watched a lot of his games. I was a big fan of his, but I'm stunned he still is on this roster. I don't know. It's crazy to me. Especially because they're carrying 7 cornerbacks if you count Amir Speed. So it's wild to me. Just wild.
So what are some like initial reactions that you have with this roster? Looking through it, anything that stands out, anything you feel great about, anything you don't feel great about. This is the time before we see it on the field,
I would say the tackles. I'm
even
not.
with the additions.
Yeah, well, from what I've heard about Wheatley, yeah, he had a really strong preseason with Cleveland, but you know, it, it's preseason and you can only grade on a curve because he was really highly rated via PFF. But you know, it's still you're going against second and third stringers, so you might look like an Orlando Pace against them. But how are you going to look if like you're staring down the line and you see T.J. Watt coming off the edge?
That's coming
But
Thursday night football
yeah,
down in December.
on my birthday. it, and I've heard he's more of a run blocking type than a true traditional kind of pass protector, which once again, they need pass protection a little more than run blocking, I think. Run blocking is just fine. It's what I worry about is I don't want to see Mac get fucking crushed off the edge. And from what I've heard about Vidarian Lowe, it's the same thing where he's a really strong run blocker, but the pass blocking isn't necessarily world beater level. And there's a reason why these teams, like, Minnesota is not really necessarily known for their O line play.
No,
And,
no, no.
Cleveland, they've had some decent offensive lines recently, but if they're willing to trade away a guy like that, I think that might throw up a slight red flag. I want to say because at the end of the day, the Patriots have gotten the best like in these like little like rinky dinky trades where it's kind of like you get Kyle Van Noy for a 6th or whatever, or was it 7? It was a 7th or 6th round pick. A ridiculous trade because he wasn't working out in Detroit. They turned him into one of the league's better linebackers.
A Pro
I don't know
Bowler.
if it's gonna be like this. I don't know if it's gonna be like this though,
No.
because O line's a different beast. You can only do so much of offensive linemen to put them in positions to succeed. Outside of that, they're kind of on their own.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm with you. I think the tackles are still a weakness, and there's still a lot of not a lot of clarity there. Riley Reef is still playing right tackle for you.
Yeah.
At left, it's Trent Brown, and again, if your fate is in the hands of Trent Brown, it's a real risky game to be playing. And then that interior offensive line still not a whole lot outside of Onwenu and Andrews. Strange. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, he's good for week 1.
Strange
But
to have a lotto ticket.
anything you feel good about? Is there any hope that you want to shine on this 53 man?
Yeah, I would say the front 7. That's a good unit. But you know what? I'll say this as well. We had the whole stink, stank, and stunk conversation about the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think they're a better group than given credit for. And while they're lacking a true one, I do have more confidence in them than I've had in some Patriots receiving rooms in years past. Yeah. I think Juju's gonna have a good year. I don't know if he'll reach 1,000 yards. I think he'll be a good player though. I think Devontae Parker, he's apparently injured. There's people talking about IR. I don't know yet. We'll see. But if Devontae Parker's healthy, that's a good receiver. Kendrick Bourne, I think if you actually play him, New England, that's a good receiver. You get two lotto tickets, kind of unproven, and Demario Douglas and Keishon Boutte, but they're both really talented guys if they can maybe show it off on the field. Those are two other guys that would be big jolts to the room. I think that we could see a room that was heavily criticized be much better than given credit for.
And again,
yeah,
like you're looking at some like really impressive preseasons from the rookies and Pop Douglas and Keyshawn Booty.
Yeah.
Again, in the spring, we were like, oh God, Booty, he's not progressing. And then you see him in summer and everybody's saying good things about him. So
he was he basically won a roster spot this like past like couple weeks. He caught fire. He was rinsing every defensive back he went against in practice. He obviously had the long touchdown against Green Bay where he looked like some past LSU receivers there. You know, you think about the Tiger lineage at receiver with Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham, and them. You watched that slant he took to the house. That was similar to something I've seen from Jamar Chase. Now, there's a reason why he went in the 6th round. There's inconsistency. But this is once a guy that's supposed to be a top 10 draft pick at one point. We'll see.
What do you think about a Jarvis Landry career for Keyshawn Booty? Do you think that's in the cards?
If he has a Jarvis Landry career, that's awesome. That would be awesome.
It's
Jarvis
a little beyond.
Landry's an awesome football player.
It's a little beyond your expectations for Booty, then.
You know, if you look at other LSU receivers, like
because to me, when I look at Booty, he kind of just looks like a really big slot receiver, like kind of like what Kendrick Bourne is, maybe just a little bit faster, a little bit more athletic. But I feel like I look at Bourne and Booty, and they're kind of similar. I mean, Booty might have a little bit more explosiveness, but I don't know what you think about that comp.
I was gonna say maybe a shorter Brandon LaFell.
You think he has more deep? He has more deep ability than I'm giving him credit for.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player, man. Like I said, he was supposed to be. You look at his freshman year at LSU. He had a game. He broke the SEC receiving yards record in a single game with like 315 or something like that. He was supposed to be the guy after Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Now, what happened was there's a litany of injury issues. He didn't get along with the coaches and stuff. But I said at the time when they drafted him, like, this could be either the steal of the draft or it could just be, a burnt 6th round pick. It depends on what Keyshawn Booty again. If you're getting freshman year Keyshawn Booty, which it looks like the past couple weeks it's been freshman Keyshawn Booty, that's a receiver 1. If it's inconsistent, lipping off coaches, consistent injuries, all that sort of stuff, that's out of the league, Keyshawn Boutte. We'll see.
And then one more thing I want to propose before we get to our fun segment of the episode, where we go a little bit outside our Patriots bubble here. The two running backs situation. Obviously, we love Ramondre, and we love the upside of Zeke Elliott, taking some of that pressure off. But are you as concerned as I am about only having 2 active running backs on the roster?
A little. I'm not. I think you and I talked about like last week or whatever, like about Ty Montgomery. I'm kind of shocked he made the team in the sense of, he's okay. I should say this right now. They did some roster flexibility stuff. He will be a part of the roster. He's not on the team right now, but they're going to call him up as a practice squad guy. Yeah, because you can do that like weekly elevations type.
Similar situation to Zappy. Which he did make the active roster.
They're kind of laughing, hoping you get claimed. But yeah, you know what? I will say the running back depth after Zeke is still not really impressive. I'm not, Montgomery, he's kind of is who he is at this point. People talking about like, oh, you might be the receiving back, all that. If that's your receiving back,
you can do better. Yeah.
Kevin Harris, I was optimistic, a bit optimistic for him, but he didn't really show much in the preseason.
And then we both love Pierre Strong, and he just got traded
after
not doing anything.
Yeah. Long live Pierre Strong. 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
I hope he does well in Cleveland. I'll be cheering for him still.
They need a receiving back, and maybe that can be that for them. I just wish he would have worked out here. But
yeah. Oh, absolutely. He'll fit out.
Any parting words for this 53-man roster before we get into this fun NFL wide segment.
I did want to talk about Matt Corral
Okay.
for a quick sec. This is an intriguing flyer by New England. Now, there were moments in college where I watched him play and I was like, I don't see it. But I think over the past couple of years, and especially in his last year at Ole Miss, he really turned up, and he has a really good arm. He's really athletic. From what I've heard, he seems like a really great, passionate, energetic leader in the room. He unfortunately was this product of in Carolina. He got hurt his rookie year, and then
Against us in
Carolina,
the preseason.
yeah. And then Carolina is like, we their owner is a go big or go home type of guy. So they wanted Bryce Young. They traded a lot for Bryce Young. So he was just kind of the odd man out there.
Yeah. Because he already had Andy Dalton in that room too.
Yeah. So he was never gonna make it, unfortunately. Well, let's say, knock on wood, this doesn't happen, of course, but Matt gets hurt again. I think Matt Corral could come in and maybe open some eyes. Maybe I don't want to say QB because
we don't need to start that convo. Yes, the other people will start that convo for us if that happens.
Yeah, but if he can keep the Patriots afloat, I think he has the talent and upside to do so. And Bill O'Brien does have familiarity with them in the sense of kind of a third party way, but Lane Kiffin, who was at Alabama, knows the same offensive schemes that Bill O'Brien knows. I think Matt Corral will fit into this offense like a glove.
Well, what isn't Ole Miss in the SEC?
Yep, they're familiar.
They had to have played Bama once or twice while O'Brien was there.
They played Bama. There's actually, I remember Mac Jones and Matt Corral had a pretty good duel in 2020. It was, if Patriots fans, if you're bored someday this week, put that game on. It was a pretty fun game.
Yeah, you got two of your quarterbacks in that room there, and obviously O'Brien wasn't there when Mac was there, and obviously anything O'Brien knows about Corral came after that game. But I think he too is an interesting athlete, and I think the best case scenario for us is Mac goes out there, lights it up. Corral kind of sits behind the scenes, gets some tutelage from Bill O'Brien and Belichick, and he shows enough in future preseason games that we can flip him for something way more than what we got him for.
Yeah.
Not that we got him for anything, but
Should I talk about quickly, just while we're on Matt Corral real quick? The Patriots, I think people forget this as well. Belichick actually pulled off a sneaky little finesse.
How so?
Because, New England traded down with Carolina, and Carolina took Matt Corral with the pick New England had. Okay. So New England ended up getting Marte Mapu and Bailey Zappi along with getting Matt Corral for free, all in that one trade.
Not bad. So, not another Belichick trade tree there.
Yeah.
It all came around. But with that being said, we'll have more Patriots content for you next week. But right now, it's time to talk about some NFL football.
Yeah.
And we have been waiting for week 1. It's finally coming on Thursday. Obviously, we have a little bit of a delayed episode dropping this on Sunday. It's been a kind of up in the air time period at the moment. Moved into college. My microphone fucking broke, so I got a new one. Nice, pretty blue, so it doesn't disappear from into the background as much anymore. But nope, we'll have a finalized schedule. We'll have it good coming this week. It'll be a quick turnaround for us, but we do it for you guys. But here's the segment for you. I've asked Ryan to come prepared again, and hopefully he has. The Patriots were not the only team to complete their roster setup this year. The other 31 teams were tasked with the same mission over the last week, and we're all looking ahead to all the week 1 matchups coming up this week. I've asked Ryan to predict the 2023 NFL season before coming on the show tonight. That includes standings, playoff pictures, Super Bowl matchups, Super Bowl champion, MVPs, Coach of the Years, yada, yada, yada. But for now, we're going to stick with the wins and losses. We're going to stick with the division winners, the playoff picture. If you're into that kind of thing, I really hope you are. But it took us a lot of time and a lot of effort to put these standings together, and I hope you are able to follow along. This is going to be an action-packed segment, and we're just going to start off right off with it. Ryan, we're going to start off with the AFC North. Give me your standings, the win-loss record, who wins it, all that jazz.
Okay. So I got the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North with a 13-4 record.
Gotcha. Hey, what's your reason behind that?
I think, the whole Lamar Jackson drama, that's water under the bridge. They're one of the most balanced teams in the NFL. I think really highly of Lamar Jackson personally. They got some great receivers now. You normally look at like Baltimore, you talk about like the same light in New England, where like, man, these guys' receivers are so underwhelming. But Baltimore, they got Odell Beckham and Zay Flowers now. Those are two good targets.
And Minnesota Gophers legend Rashad Bateman.
Oh, and Rashad Bateman. Yeah, you see, I forgot about Rashad Bateman.
Yeah,
that's a damn good trio. For once, they actually have a receiver room that's worth a shit. I think Lamar Jackson, he's so talented. You look at it in 2019, that Ravens team was the number 1 seed. Lamar won the MVP.
Blew the doors off of us when we played them.
Yeah. If they boat race in New England, that was a fucking disaster.
That was fun, yeah. Love that.
They're just an electric team with an overall balanced squad. I have them winning the AFC North. I think I got the Bengals at 12-5. I think it'll be a deciding game between Cincinnati and Baltimore. I got Pittsburgh at actually hold on now. I got Cleveland at 11-6.
Wow. Okay, that's one you're gonna have to explain a little bit to me.
Okay, well, I think as much as I hate saying it because this guy's a total scumbag, Deshaun Watson, I'm sorry, QB that should be not named. He's not gonna be this bad. And if he is this bad, I mean, that would be great. I would cheer that on. But the Cleveland Browns have a really balanced roster still. Yeah, Deshaun Watson, when he was playing, before all the alleged incidents and stuff, was the top 10 quarterback in the league.
Oh, it wasn't even a question. Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna win games. Now, I don't know if I have them making the playoffs because the AFC is it's like the Royal Rumble. But yeah, I unfortunately think he's gonna do really well. And they also have a ton of cap space too, from what I saw. So if they want to make any big deadline acquisitions, they're well poised to do so. And I got Pittsburgh at 8-9.
That breaks Tomlin's record or streak or whatever it is.
You could give or take a game for them, like 9-8. You know what I mean? They're kind of a bucket of mid. Their defense is good-ish, I should say. Their pass rush is always elite, but like the secondary's bleh. Their offense is fine. I've heard a lot of hype about George Pickens. I'm not sold yet. Najee Harris hasn't really been the game changer. Their O-line's bleh. It's kind of a bleh football team. But yeah, that's my AFC North.
Okay, so my AFC North is not dissimilar to yours. It's a tie between the Ravens and the Bengals at 12-5, and this calculator gave the tiebreaker to Baltimore. I think that's going to be a really tight race. I agree. And if the Ravens can stay healthy, they had the overhaul on their training staff. If they can stay healthy, the Ravens are the team to beat. The Bengals are not that much far behind. They are still super, super talented. They didn't lose anything major on that offense or defense. They did lose Jesse Bates. I will be interested to see how that hole is kind of filled.
They got Daxton Hill coming in, who was a New England Patriot draft target just a couple of years ago. Okay. He's a really talented safety out of Michigan.
Not bad, not bad. I too have the Steelers record being broken. They go 7-10. I thought I would be a lot higher than them as I was picking through these games, but it's just like it's a tough schedule. That team isn't fantastic. I think Tomlin can get them to overperform a couple games, but it's a 7-10 is where I had them on face value.
That's similar to us.
Yeah, and then with the Browns, I had them at 6-11. I don't like a whole lot about that team, truthfully. Amari Cooper, I love as a stud. Nick Chubb is obviously a beast, but it's
You gonna admit someone? Cousin Elijah. Come on now.
Elijah Moore, yep, he's a great slot receiver. I wanted him in New England, but I don't know. And again, with the Deshaun Watson thing, I'm beyond the ramifications of his personal life. We all know what it is. We all hate it. We all cheer for him to lose. I just don't think he's that good anymore. And you can't miss that much football and still be good. And we saw it last year. And obviously he came back not having a full off season, but he didn't look particularly fantastic in the preseason either. I haven't heard great things about him in training camp either. Not to say I've heard terrible things, but I just haven't heard great things.
I mean, you look at though, like another controversial quarterback that came back. You know, he wasn't necessarily lighting the world on fire. Then it all clicked for him was Michael Vick. You know, he was in prison. Like he came back to Philadelphia. Andy Reid gave him the chance. Obviously, it was a very malign decision at the time. But you know, Vick ended up, you know, the backup that year. I think in 2009, then 2010.
Yeah, the dream team.
Again,
yeah,
and lit the league on fire. Now, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Deshaun Watson falls off. As a matter of fact, I hope he does. You know, I think, you know, I think he's still a great quarterback. He's only 28. It kills me to say he's gonna, and if he's not, I mean, you know, Cleveland just took one of the worst PR hits in sports history, giving that guy a $230 million contract and giving up 2 first-round picks just for him to be a mid. But I don't know. I think he'll be great again. I want to be wrong, but I
just don't see them being able to compete with the cream of the crop of the AFC. I just don't think that team is that fantastic. Stefanski, I've never been a Stefanski guy, to tell you the truth. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this Cleveland roster, and for that, they're 6-11 for me.
All right.
Let's move on to the NFC North. I'll kick this one off. I got the Vikings at 11-6. I don't think that they're like this world beater team or anything. They are really solid. They're improving on the defense. They signed our guy Brian Flores. We love Brian Flores around here, baby.
Very pro Brian Flores show.
That Vikings defense is going to be aggressive, if nothing else, and they just lacked that aggression last year, and I think they're going to be better off for it. The Packers, I have at 8-9. Maybe a little generous in the post Aaron Rodgers era, and maybe I'm sleeping on the Lions still, but Jordan Love looked pretty good in the preseason. I don't think he's gonna light the world on fire his first year out, but I think he probably took a lot of good lessons from Aaron Rodgers. That offense doesn't have a ton of weapons, but they have some dynamic players. Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, I love just as dynamic players. Their rookie tight end, what's his name? Ferguson? Shoemaker? Musgrave. Yes. I like him. He's a solid athlete. Aaron Jones, I've always loved Aaron Jones. That dude is a game breaker. I would love to have him in New England because that dude is just insane.
It's awesome.
I think he's better than Dalvin Cook. I think he's always been better than Dalvin Cook. And I will say it out loud for those who don't know and don't want to say it. And A.J. Dillon is just a bowling ball. I love A.J. Dillon. I love a lot of those pieces on the Packers offense. And the defense, you still got Rashawn Gary. You still got Jair Alexander. What's his name? Isn't Darnell Savage back there?
Yeah, Darnell Savage still there.
Watch out for him. I mean, is Kenny Clark still there?
Rashard Douglas is still there. Or Rashad Douglas.
Is Kenny Clark still there?
Kenny Clark's still there.
Dude, don't sleep on the Packers, bro.
It's a good unit. I think Preston Smith's still there.
Oh my God, is Darius Smith still there?
No, he actually left a couple years ago. He's in Cleveland now. Funny enough.
Okay. But still, that Packers team's looking real solid. Don't sleep on them. After that, the Lions at 7-10. They made a lot of good strides last year, and they are primed to this is a weak NFC. I think they're primed to make a star push, and it wouldn't surprise me. But how far can Jared Goff really take you? I'm not totally convinced. I'm not totally sold on the weapons on that offense. Amon-Ra is great. What's after that? Is Jahmyr Gibbs is he gonna carry you to the promised land? I don't know. Just who else is it? Who else is playing wide receiver? JMO's suspended.
Jamison Williams will be back at the 6 games. We'll see.
He's suspended, yeah, and he hasn't looked good at any time he's been on the field.
Yeah,
like he's looking like
he's
looking like a bust. He's looking like a bust. I'll say it. Who's after Amon-Ra? Is it Marvin Jones? Is he really going to be your guy?
Yeah, it's not pretty. But
so understand my hesitancy on crowning the Lions as everybody else has after they looked good last year. They had a lot of great pieces last year, and they caught lightning in a bottle. I'd love to see it happen again. I just don't.
I can't wait for Tristan to yell at you.
Tristan doesn't even watch this show. He will when we tell him that I shit on the Lions. But on the bottom, it's the Chicago Bears. You got DJ Moore. Justin Fields finally has a weapon, but Justin Fields is still going to be running for his life, and he's still a really, really raw prospect. They did nothing to that. No, they got Paris Johnson, didn't they?
No, Paris Johnson went to Arizona.
So who didn't they draft the offensive tackle?
Yeah, they got Buddy Wright, I think. Darnell Wright. Wasn't even on my radar. So yep, Justin Fields is still running for his life. That defense is still horrid. Eddie Jackson is there, and with it, Roquan Smith. I forgot about him. He's solid. He got traded.
Roquan. What?
He's a Raven.
Okay, well, the Bears are worse than I thought. I got them at 5-12.
Well, they signed Tremaine Edmonds from Buffalo.
That's who I was thinking of, Tremaine Edmonds.
And they got another linebacker from Philly, I think it was Edwards, TJ Edwards. So they had two linebackers.
Not totally feeling that. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds is a solid player. I really like him, but I don't know. They're doing a little better than last year. 5-12. 5-12. That's where I got them. But Ryan, go ahead. Save this podcast reputation and dive through your NFC North.
Oh man. Well, I got Minnesota at 10-7.
Okay, so about the same as me.
Division. I think Kirk Cousins is a weird quarterback to me because he always. It feels like there's one week where it's like, what the fuck, Kirk, and there's other weeks where it's like he looks like Tom Brady. Like he shifts into two modes, and that's unfortunately why I don't know if he'll never probably win a ring because of the inconsistency. But he's still a pretty good quarterback. He's a top 12 guy in the league. He'll win you games. I think the running backs are a bit. I'm not big on Madison, but you look at they got the best receiver in football, Justin Jefferson. They got Jordan Addison, someone you and I were pretty high on.
TJ Hawkinson.
Yep, TJ Hawkinson. They just made the highest paid tight end in the league. Their O-line, I mean, it's never really going to be great.
It's Minnesota.
But it's a bit better. You'd hope it'd be a bit better. Their defense is pretty solid. It's a solid overall football team. Like you said, they got Flores, so their defense is going to be good. But I don't know. I think they're going to do well. They'll burn out in the playoffs. They get standard Minnesota fashion. I'm sorry, Travis. I guess Justin, JLL, and whoever else from the Vikings fan that would listen to this. Love you guys, but I don't know. In the second, I got the Detroit Lions.
Okay, so you're a little bit more into them than I am.
Well, okay. I like their coaching staff. Dan Campbell, is he the best strategist in the league?
No, that's why Belichick pantsed him last October.
He's not the best strategist, but what he does bring is he's a player's coach. He'll bring all the juice and energy to Detroit. I'm not even crazy high on Jared Goff either, but I think, you look at, there is a coach in Detroit that is going to be a prime head coaching candidate next year. Learn a name, Ben Johnson. I think it is Ben or Brian Johnson. I think it's Ben Johnson. Shit, I don't even know the name. No, it's Ben Johnson.
And their D coordinator too.
Yeah, Glenn, I think. Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ben Johnson, learn this name. He is one of the most creative and exciting play callers in the NFL. This guy was psychotic enough to cook up a play where he threw to Penei Sewell to ice the game. This guy called a hook and ladder in a freaking game to eliminate the Packers. They are unhinged there, and I love it. It's the kind of unhinged I love it. Sicko shit there. And he said today that they're going to cook up a lot of different ways to use Jahmyr Gibbs, who's an electric weapon. A lot of people were confused about the draft pick at the time. Oh wow, Gibbs went really high. He is an electric football player that is a great receiving back. He runs 4.3. He's a home run hitter. They're gonna cook up some really fun ways to use him.
You know my take on taking running backs in the first round.
Listen, I'm not very pro taking running backs in the first round either, but I will say if you're taking a weapon, if it's like a Christian McCaffrey or like type, I'm okay with it. Now, pure running backs, no. Weapons, yes. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a weapon.
So what's the record?
And I think Jamison Williams, I mean, he's looked like he's had a terrible start to his career, quite frankly. He's still really talented, man. I think if he could just find his stride, find your fucking stride, JMO. I believe in you. I want to see you be great. Because quite frankly, I want to see Detroit be great. They're a team I've always had sympathy towards. Who doesn't outside the NFC North? They've been a terrible franchise, and I want to see them be great. I think their defense is pretty solid. I think it's overall a solid team. You did bring up some valid points about their receiving room right now, though. Outside of Amon-Ra, it's not the best, but if Jameson can come in and save the season, I think they're going to be a team that nobody will really want to play come January if they do make it in. And I do have them making it in, by the way, as a 7th seed.
Okay.
Well,
what was the record? I didn't catch it.
What?
What'd you have the Lions record at? I didn't catch
10-7.
10. Wow. Okay.
So I have them losing a game to Minnesota, which will decide the division.
Okay. It's a little bit more higher than I would put them, but go ahead.
At 3rd, I have the Packers at 8-9.
Okay, so about where I had them.
Yeah, they have the widest range of outcomes in the league. They're amongst those teams because it's all dependent on Jordan Love and they have the youngest receiving room in the league. So if, let's say, Jaden Reed is someone I'm really high on, they drafted him in the 2nd round. If he booms, Romeo Dobbs is a good receiver. Christian Watson was awesome. He was a touchdown machine last year. Like, if those 3 can get cooking, Luke Musgrave, who is a really athletic tight end, he drew comparisons to Mike Gesicki coming out of college. It's a really talented guy. You got Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, your Thunder Lightning. Or actually, I should say Jones is your Lightning and Dillon's your Thunder.
Yeah.
But, their O-line's good. The defense is pretty good. It's all just dependent on Jordan Love. If Jordan Love taps into the potential he had at Utah State that was the reason why he got drafted round 1, the Packers will be scary. I think they could win the division, quite frankly. But if there is some bumps along the road, not their year yet. Could be next year. Maybe we see that Aaron Rodgers, people forget, when he came out of Cal Berkeley, he was raw with all the talent in the world. Jordan Love coming out of Utah State, same sort of story. Raw, mechanics are wonky, inaccurate at times. All the arm talent and athleticism, but he needs maturing his seasoning. He needs to sit for a few years. Well, Brett Favre in 2008 gets traded to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, 15 years later, traded to the Jets. Maybe Jordan Love continues on the Packer lineage of, just casually having 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, maybe a 3rd. We don't know. Yeah. So at 4th, I have the Chicago Bears. I think we need to slow down the Justin Fields hype. I love Justin Fields, but not yet. I originally thought he was going to break out, but I don't like what Chicago has built completely yet. I love DJ Moore. Shout out my cousin. But he's not, he can only do so much. I'm not, Darnell Mooney. I'm not the craziest on him. Cole Kmet, he got a big contract this offseason or whatever. I'm still not
Golly,
completely sold
yeah.
on him. Their defense, they spent a lot of money on the team. I still am not crazily sold on the defense yet. They're fine. They're a fine team. They're gonna be way better than last year. They're not number one pick bad. If they're number one pick bad, then Justin
Blow it up.
Fields is out the
Yeah.
door.
What'd you have him as a record?
I have him at 7-10.
Jesus, that's a good division you got there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of like the NFC South. There's nobody that's like really super overwhelming, but
Well, speaking of the
it's fine.
Souths, we got
Yeah.
the AFC South up next. I will let you lead. Carry on.
Oh yeah. I in first place in the AFC South. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 12-5. I
Wow.
think
Okay.
they're an awesome team. Trevor Lawrence, year 3. Calvin Ridley coming off his year-long suspension for gambling. That's an awesome quarterback receiver duo. Travis Etienne, player I'm pretty high on. The receiver Christian Kirk, receiver 2. Zay Jones is your receiver 3. It's a good
Evan
offense.
Ingram at tight end.
Evan Ingram, good tight end. O-line, solid. D-line, or defense, solid. Doug Peterson, great coach. I think the South is a cupcake division right now.
They should be 6 wins. It should be 6 wins. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in second, I have, and this just shows how bad the division is, man. I have the Tennessee Titans at 6-11.
Ooh, brutal.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of I love Mike Vrabel. And you know what? Quite frankly, they could win a few more games than I pegged them as, but just off what I had here. I think I'm not high on Ryan Tannehill. He's getting older. Derrick Henry, he's another year older and another like 300, 400 carries on the body. DeAndre Hopkins, he's kind of I know every Patriots fan wanted him. I wanted him, but there could be a reality where he hurts his hamstring again. He's out. Treylon Burks got injured. He's really talented, but he got injured in the preseason. He's coming off a knee injury. Who knows? Their tight end, Chigo Okonkwo, I'm pretty high on him, but like, is he enough to be an offensive catalyst if the other guys aren't as great as they once were? No. Their O-line's They lost Taylor Lewan this offseason. That's a big loss. That's one of the best tackles in the league. Their defense is pretty good. Their defense, I think, will win them some games. Their offense, I'm not super high on. And I hope good friend, good close personal friend of the Patriots, Nick Folk, does well there. But I don't know. They're very blah. They could win a few more games though than I have. In third, I have the Indianapolis Colts at 5-12. They're Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen will be a fun combination of coach to quarterback. But you're relying on a 21-year-old, still raw rookie receiver or quarterback to come in and be your franchise, and I don't think he's there yet. Now we talk about like year 2, year 3, year 4, whatever. Anthony Richardson will help the Colts great, but you're losing your top running back, Jonathan Taylor, who would have been a big boost due to a really weird drama there. Michael Pittman, he's a good receiver. He can be a great receiver at times. He's not a catalyst to the offense, though. The receiving room after him is very tight end. Who's their tight end one? Like Moali Cox?
Him or what's his name? Oh God, Jelani Woods.
Jelani Woods, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jelani Woods, I've heard a lot about, like in terms of his athleticism and stuff, but he's a lotto ticket. Yeah, we don't know. Their O-line, it's still fine, but it's regressed and they've lost some guys, and it's very blah. Their defense, they still have DeForest Buckner and Shaquille, not Darius anymore, Shaquille Leonard. Still make that mistake from time to time when I see his name. Kenny Moore's still there, but defense is very blah. It's just it's not a good team. They were terrible last year for a reason. Granted, that's because Jeff Saturday came in, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? And Matt Ryan was a lemon, and it was all ugly. But yeah, they're gonna be a bad football team.
The first year of their real rebuild. So
yeah, and shout out to our buddy Trent. They're gonna be great in a few years. It's just this year, it's gonna be a year of pain. Maybe you get Marvin Harrison Jr. to come in.
He's got a killer instinct. He's got a killer instinct. That's it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, who?
I hope he has the killer instinct from his dad. I hope that's what you got.
Yeah. Allegedly.
All right, who you got last? Give me your 2 cents on
Houston?
Houston, yeah.
4-13.
Oh, nice. Brutal.
Well, they're bad. I love CJ Stroud. I like Dameon Pierce. I hope my guy John Mechie, coming back from cancer, kills it this year. But outside of that, it's a very bleh team. Will Anderson will be fun to watch. CJ Stroud, hopefully he pops off and has some flashes. But outside of that, it's going to be a year of pain for Houston. Hopefully they can, continue to build around the team and get CJ Stroud some weapons. Maybe he gets his old buddy Marvin Harrison Jr. back as well. That could be another team. It'd be a lot of fun.
No, didn't they trade their picks?
Oh yeah, but they have Cleveland's first though.
Yeah, so if Cleveland is as bad as I said it was, yeah.
But yeah, it's bad. It's a bad football team.
All right. I'll make mine short and snippy for all the same reasons. Jacksonville, I have in first place 11-6. Real solid. The Titans, I have a little bit better than you did. 8-9. I think Vrabel gets a lot out of that team year in and year out, despite how bad they are.
Like I said, I think Vrabel can win them a few.
Yeah, I think I'm a big Vrabel guy, big Vrabel fan. We're obviously big Vrabel people up here in Foxboro. 8-9, I think, is about where I have them. They could make the playoffs because the AFC is just kind of wacky, but I think 8-9 is probably a safe bet, missing the playoffs. I have a tie for last, actually. I have the Texans getting a little bit better, 6-11, and the Colts are at 6-11. A lot of the same reasons. It's the first year of a rebuild. I feel like the Texans have been in a rebuild forever, but I love D'Amico Ryans. I think he's going to get a lot out of that defense. But again, it's a lot of holes. It's a weak division. They just kind of beat up on each other. They'll get a couple wins, and they'll sneak a couple wins elsewhere, and that'll be that. In the NFC South, I have the Saints running away with it at 11-6. That division is atrocious. I don't like anything about any of those teams except for the Saints because I love Chris Olave. If you guys didn't know, I'm a huge Derek Carr fan. I think he's going to have a career resurgence down there in NOLA. I don't love Dennis Allen at all. But they have a lot of pieces on defense that I love. Cam Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore. It's a solid defense. And they have some pieces along the offense. I am a big believer in Juwan Johnson. I think he's going to be super, super solid as well. Kamara, when he gets back, should still be the weapon. But they also drafted, what's his name? Kendra Miller. Yep. And they have Jamal Williams, who was a touchdown machine for Detroit last year. If they have any plans of doing it again with the Saints, they'd be smart. After that, it's a bit of a catastrophe. The Atlanta Falcons at 6-11. I don't love anything about that roster whatsoever. You don't have a quarterback. Kyle Pitts is being wasted. Drake London is being wasted. That defense is just bad. Unbelievable. Yeah. Atlanta 6-11. Fire Arthur Smith now. At 5-12, right under them, the Carolina Panthers. It's the first year of a rebuild. Frank Reich. I'm not a huge Frank Reich guy. Bryce Young. He's a midget. He's a little small. There's not a lot of receivers in that room. Don't love that fit. The running back room, I don't know who is it Miles Sanders? Are we really buying in on Miles Sanders being the best running back in that division? I'm not.
Respect to Calgary and Chuba Hubbard.
And who the hell is on that defense? Jeremy Chin? You want me to buy in on Jeremy Chin?
Yeah, let's go. Jeremy Chin season. Let's go.
Unbelievable. JC Horn finally becoming the corner that we all thought he'd be. I'm not a buyer. 5-12. And then last place, Buccaneers 4-13. Do I need to explain it? Okay. Baker Mayfield. That's your quarterback. Todd Bowles is your coach. I used to be a huge Todd Bowles guy. I don't know what the hell happened last year. You got two great wide receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You had the greatest quarterback ever in Tom Brady, who was admittedly took a little bit of a step back, lost a lot of weight, wasn't in the best mindset last season. But you have all of those pieces, and you still barely won your division. Don't know what to tell you. That Bucks team is brutal. They need a rebuild. 4-13.
I got New Orleans at 10-7. Yeah, and they're one of those teams. They're kind of very mediocre, but the division carries it. Yeah, I love Chris Olave. Big Chris Olave guy. Drafted him in fantasy for a reason. Kamara should still be great when he comes back. Juwan Johnson, and I think there is someone you forgot to talk about, but there is a receiver in New Orleans that full season.
You went a little high, and your mic didn't catch it.
Maybe Michael Thomas plays more than like
Slant Boy. Yeah.
You know, for all the jokes about Slant Boy, Slant Man, all that stuff, he is a good receiver. He was once a great receiver. I don't know if that 2019 form is still there. That's a great player. I think if he stays healthy, he'll have a 100-catch season. Maybe him and Derek Carr become best friends, and they actually become a better offense than some people think. But yeah, it's not. They're fine. They're a fine team. Their defense is pretty solid, but it's all very blah. It's their only reason why they're 10-7 is because it's division. At second place, and this is a team I'm a little higher on than you, just because I do believe in their quarterback. The Carolina Panthers at 8-9.
Oh,
I really like Bryce Young. I really like him. The guy's a gamer. I'm sorry,
okay.
He is a fucking gamer, dude. Like, I think, if you look at his career, at Alabama, his receivers were very blah. He still found ways to win football games time after time that a lot of other quarterbacks, I'm sorry, I like Mac Jones, but Mac Jones, if he had the receivers Bryce Young had at Alabama, I don't know if he would have won as many games as Bryce did. But I think, that's a guy that's a winner. Miles Sanders, he's fine at RB1. He's fine, whatever. Adam Thielen's the receiver one, not pretty. Jonathan Mingo, who I'm high on. He's raw but talented. The rest of their team, yeah, it's not a great team. But I have a lot of belief in Bryce Young that he's gonna push them above some games that they should win or
from day one.
Shouldn't have won. And I think, you look at the cupcake division, it's gonna be a big boost. A third, I'm pretty low on this team. The Atlanta Falcons.
For all the reasons I said, right?
5-12.
For all the reasons I said, yeah.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder is your quarterback one. Not impressed. They have a Lamborghini at tight end. They happen to use him though like he's a fucking Ford F-150. Have him be blocking heavy duty. No, Kyle Pitts is a receiver. Use him like a receiver. Drake London, awesome football player. Bijan Robinson's a lot of fun. Don't care. Blah. Arthur Smith is not that great. And their defense is blah. Not impressed. Got mid-tier roster with a shit quarterback. So, I'm sorry. But Arthur Smith, count your days, I guess. Desmond Ridder, well, good luck. And then fourth place, and I want to take a minute to rip into this organization.
No, go for it.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A pile of shit football team. And I'm pretty high on Dave Canales as their offensive coordinator. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt by adding just a couple more wins that I initially had them as. Because I initially had them at 1-16. And if it was Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich running the show, I think they could go 0-17. Well, They kind of got their heads out of their asses and they fired Byron Leftwich. Good for you. Todd Bowles is still your head coach. And I like Dave Canales a lot. He's cooked up some pretty good stuff so far in the preseason from what I've seen. They've actually used play action, something they never used last year in Tampa or at all in the Bruce Arians Brady regime there. Crazy. If they had Dave Canales last year, the Bucs are hoisting the fucking Lombardi again. But alas, they're not. So just overrated roster, garbage quarterback, garbage head coach, a fun, talented offensive coordinator that will be their head coach by the end of the year. He'll get head coaching jobs because I think he's really good. 3-14. Blah. Shit. Garbage. PU. Fuck Tampa.
All right.
Sorry.
Glad we
A little
agree.
unprofessional today, but I hate that organization with 1,000 suns. You wasted my favorite athlete's final season ever on absolute garbage. Go to hell. Okay.
Well, hopefully you can carry that energy into our AFC West preview. Let's kick it right to you. AFC West, what do you got?
So in the AFC West, I have Kansas City at 15-2.
Oh, me too. Football. Right smack the same.
Yeah.
What's their division record?
6-0.
Yep, me too.
Yeah. Come on now. Unfortunately, it's Patrick Mahomes' world and we're living in it now. I hate it. I hate the Chiefs. I hate Travis Kelce. I like Patrick Mahomes a lot, but I don't like that, there's already GOAT conversations around him already too soon, but that's a different debate for a different day. I won't go into that. Yeah. They're the best team in the league right now. And it's their division to lose. Now it'd be funny if they lost, but I have Denver in second at 12-5. I'm pretty high on them. I didn't think I was going to be, but you know what? Sean Payton's awesome as a head coach. They're getting Javonte Williams back. Russell Wilson cannot be that bad again. And if he is that bad, woof. But I do think I can give him the benefit of the doubt because before 2022, he was really good. And then Nathaniel Hackett, clown show coaching, the worst coach in football last year. And that says a lot because Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich are coaching as well. I think it's going to be a much better year for Denver. They were too talented to be that bad last year. They're going to be pretty good this year. Defense is great. Offense, there's a lot of weapons there. It's all on Peyton and Russ now, and I do have some belief in them. A third, this is a team I'm kind of low on. The Raiders. And
people are going to be shocked that you don't have the Chargers here at third.
I'll explain why. I have the Raiders at 6-10.
6-11, you mean?
6-11, yeah. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Still flex me up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not high on the roster. Jimmy's brittle at this point. I know he's your boy. He's a fine quarterback when he plays. I want to spread the Aiden O'Connell propaganda machine, but that's a tough spot to put a rookie quarterback in if he has to, come in. Their O-line's their defense is bad. I'm still not sold on Josh McDaniels as a head coach. They're
not great.
Not great. And then the Chargers. I have them at 5-12.
So the bottom is coming out on the Chargers.
I'm not. I think Brandon Staley is a bottom 5 head coach in the NFL. I love Justin Herbert. Love him. But I feel bad for the guy having to carry such an incompetent pile of an organization. Just, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, awesome players at one point. Eckler, he was a fantasy machine. Keenan Allen, the last couple of weeks, when he came back from his injury, was a fantasy machine. But when you actually put on the film, they're kind of not really the same guys that they once were. Mike Williams, I've never been a crazy Mike Williams fan. He's fine. He's a good possession receiver, big catches and stuff, but he's not a game wrecker. Quentin Johnston, another guy I was not high on at all. Had
He's
drop
still
problems at TCU.
he's still struggling with those
Yeah,
concentration drops.
yeah. He looks like another Aaron Dobson to me. Really talented, but if you can't catch the football, what the fuck are you here for? I don't know. Who's their tight end? Like Donald Parham?
And no, it's Gerald Everett,
Oh, it's Gerald Everett.
who I really like.
I keep thinking of Donald Parham because he's like 6'8" playing tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gerald Everett's fine. Their O line, the Chargers, once again, not known for great O line play. Still bleh O line. Their defense, it's good. Not Staley just isn't just not moving the needle for me. Unfortunately, it's the Chargers. They're gonna charger it, and you know what? Maybe I'll look like a total jackass. And I kind of want to look like a total jackass. I love Justin Herbert. I do deep down love the Chargers, but they play like jackasses. There's something about that franchise. They're cursed. They turn into fucking jackasses.
Dean Spanos needs to sell immediately.
Yeah. The second Spanos is gone, the curse will be lifted, I think. And we can finally see the Chargers be a respectable organization.
All right, so not dissimilar to you. I have the Chiefs 15-2, 6-0 in the division. They run shit. Don't really know how else to put it. At 12-5, I got the Denver Broncos again for a lot of the same reasons you did. It's a talented roster. If Russ and Peyton can get their shit together, that's a solid team. 6-11, I have the Chargers for a lot of the same reasons you do. They're not great. And then the Raiders at 5-12. I mean, that Raiders team is it's brutal.
Yeah,
from
it's not
top
good.
to bottom, it's a brutal team. I'd love to see Jimmy G do well, but Jimmy G is the magic man he is sometimes. He's not lifting that team more than 5 wins. It's a brutal schedule. It's a brutal division. Anytime you have to play Kansas City twice a year, it's not going to be a fun ride.
There's 2 automatic losses. Kansas City owns the Raiders too under Mahomes.
Yeah, so 5-12 for them, and I'll jump right over to the NFC West, where the Niners I have taken it at 12-5. But there's something about that team; they just refuse to lose. The Seattle Seahawks I got at 9-8, still a really solid team. Don't know how much better they'll get. I don't love their roster as a whole; it's just kind of solid. So 9-8, I think is fine. The Rams at 7-10, they're a rebuild waiting to happen. It's going to implode at some point, and we're all just waiting for when. But a team that did implode, the 2-15 Arizona Cardinals, they should probably hold the number 1 pick next year, and maybe even number 2 if the Texans blow. Like, imagine they get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. in their first draft class of this rebuild. Yeah, and they'll still screw it up because of their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, who was just a tool. But yeah, I got the Niners at top, Seattle, Rams, Cardinals, kind of the same stack of teams we've been known for a little while. But Ryan, let's go to you, NFC West.
All right. Got the 49ers 13-4. Great team. Brock Purdy, he's a bit of a mystery box still. He won a lot. If he is who he was last year, they're going to win football games. Shanahan's too great of a coach. The defense is too great. Their weapons are too great. Second place, I have the Seattle Seahawks, 10-7. Good roster. I like them more than you do. I think, their offense can be pretty potent if Geno can continue for them. It's all based on Geno Smith. If Jackson Smith and Jigba can come in and be a third weapon to that already lethal duo there, that would be awesome. I like Devin Witherspoon, their rookie cornerback. You're getting Jamal Adams back. I've never been the craziest Jamal Adams guy, but he is a good player. It's gonna be a good team. Third place, I have the Rams at 5-12. What a fall from grace for them. They had something crazy, like the most amount of rookies on a team with like 20, over 20 rookies or whatever, something like that. It's not a good roster anymore. It's really young. It's kind of just Stafford, Kupp, who is dealing with hamstring issues now.
Yep.
He's in his 30s. And the once Triple Crown winner might become a ghost You might go through the Julio Jones career simulator where you once looked at the best in the league. Now you're struggling to stay on the field because your hamstrings are just shot as like a 30-year-old. Their receiving room after Cup, very, very, very bad. The way the whole stink, stank, and stunk was talked about, that should be the Rams room without Cup.
Yeah.
That's bad. I'm fairly high in Puka Nakua, their third-round receiver from, I think it's third round. It's third, fourth-round receiver from BYU. Yeah. But if that's your catalyst, I mean, Van Jefferson will become your receiver one. That's not good. Their defense, it's just Aaron Donald and a bunch of guys. It's so bad. Their team is terrible now, and they sold their souls for the ring. Don't blame them. I think a lot of teams are gonna have to go through that method now, but that's just how it goes. And I have the Arizona Cardinals at 1-16.
Yeah.
Their quarterback room might be the worst quarterback room I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they're starting Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, Clayton Tune, and who's the other guy? They had like a third guy, I think. It's like an NPC.
I wouldn't know his name.
Yeah, it's terrible. They're not even, from what I've read, they're probably not going to bring Kyler back because there's like a injury guarantee type thing in his contract where if he gets hurt, like he's guaranteed a whole whack of money. So they're just going to keep him on ice all year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, terrible. Just terrible.
Unbelievable. But let's go to a division with some pizzazz. The NFC East. I'll let you take the reins here. Kick us off.
All right. At first place, I have the Philadelphia Eagles also at 15-2.
Wow, okay.
They're an elite roster, man. And honestly, we talk about the Cardinals, like Gannon held them back quite a bit. It's amazing he got a head coaching job. Because from what I've heard from Eagles fans, Jonathan Gannon was like everything wrong with their defense, like soft coverage, very bleh. But they always had the talent, and that's why they won a lot of football games last year. Well, they have a new DC. Jalen Hurts is awesome. The running backs are a bit weird. I'm not a big DeAndre Swift guy.
DeAndre Swift, Penny Gainwell, Rashad Penny.
Yeah. But knowing Philly, they'll bullshit. They'll be the team that gets Rashad Penny to stay healthy for once, and he just goes crazy. AJ Brown's awesome. Devontae Smith's awesome. That might be the best duo in the league. Just ridiculous. Dallas Goedert, awesome player. Their O-line's awesome. Their defense is awesome. I like Nick Sirianni a lot. He's, you talk about like a head coach that's fit for the city. That's the ultimate Philadelphian, a head coach right there. Just an absolute nut job, but he can coach his ass off. So I love the Eagles team. I hate the Eagles, but I love their team.
Gotcha. Yep.
Second place, I have the Dallas Cowboys at 10-7.
Okay.
Dak's good. Dak's fine. Whatever. Dak's Dak. We know Dak Prescott at this point. Tony Pollard takes the reins from Zeke. Zeke's here, obviously, now. CeeDee Lamb's awesome. Their offense will be great. It'll be fun to watch. Their defense will be great. It'll be fun to watch. It's the Cowboys. They'll find something hilarious to do, and they'll fuck it up. It's how Dallas goes. Third place, I have the New York Giants at 6-11.
Whoa!
I don't like the Giants that much, man.
Explain yourself.
Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. I don't give a fuck about that rinky-dink offensive system. I don't. He's not good. I'm not a fan of this guy. And all the Giants fans, like Nick and all of them, are going to yell at me and Abhishek. I'm sorry, guys. It's not a good team. I don't like Daniel Jones. I like Saquon Barkley a lot. And you know what? They could win a few more games than giving them credit for because Brian Dable's awesome. Saquon Barkley's awesome. Who's their receiver one in New York? Exactly.
It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of the
Do you
names.
think Isaiah Hodgins will continue to look that great?
Probably not.
Yeah. Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson do anything notable last year? Yeah, it's a talent, but apparently it's like dinosaur arms and stuff like that. He's like 5'8".
Yeah.
Ballinger, he's talented. I don't know. The defense is fine. If they win more games, it's because of Brian Dable. If they don't, I don't buy into them. I can't until they can consistently show it. I thought they were frauds last year, and I thought they were getting carried by an elite offensive system. And the Eagles thrashing them showed it. The difference in talent. Coaching can only take you so far. And in fourth place, I have the Washington Commanders at 3-14.
Wow, that bad?
I think Rivera's getting fired at the end of the year.
Well,
I don't know.
would think so.
I've heard some positive about Sam Howell. I love Terry McLaurin. I love Jahan Dotson. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a bad year for the Commanders. But hey, the hometown hero, Caleb Williams, Washington D.C. product. There's light at the end of the tunnel if you can tank this year. Now, obviously, the players won't do it, but I would love to see Caleb Williams be the new hope of DC after a disgusting tenure of Dan Snyder. It'd be a lot of fun to watch. I want to see Washington be relevant again. They've been so irrelevant throughout my entire life. I need to see them be relevant again. It's great for football.
I mean, for me, I got the Eagles at 11-6. They are a great team, but I do believe in that Super Bowl hangover. When you lose it, teams don't really start off hot. They're still going to be a great team. They're going to heat up at the end. Dallas, I have at 9-8. I think they're probably the more talented team of the two between Dallas and the Giants, but I do not share your opinion on Daniel Jones. I do not share your opinion on I think Dable just kind of makes the shit work. And I do like a lot of the pieces on that. I liked a lot of those pieces on the defense. I got the Giants at 9-8, making the playoffs as that final wild card. And then the
Giants, though,
the Commanders at 5-12.
I think there's regression to be had, though. Last year there was a lot of things that Daniel Jones is like. You can only do so much with him before you have to rely on him to win you a game, and he just can't do it. He hasn't shown it. Like I said, look at the playoff. Like, look at the Eagles game. The second the Giants went against like more talented teams, they got fucking boat raced. It's just, yeah, I can't be high on them yet until they show me consistently. I'm sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry about that.
No, that was basically my wrap up. I think this division is super talented. The top three teams, I think Dallas is really, really talented. I think the Giants are really, really well coached and they outperform consistently. And there's only room to go up for Daniel Jones. I think there's only room to go up for that offense. And then the Commanders, obviously. I'm not a Sam Howell guy. I love Ron Rivera, but 5-12 is pretty much where they peak for me. But now is the division that you've all been waiting for. The AFC East, home of your New England Patriots.
Yes,
I'll kick this off. The Bills are at 13-4. I don't think that they're gonna be like world beaters, but still 13-4 is still a really, really good record. I have the Dolphins at 12-5. I think that they are a super, super talented team. There's only room to go up. I think as long as Tua stays healthy, and that's the biggest if of them all. If Tua can stay healthy, there's no reason that you tell me this team doesn't win at least 11 games. Period. I think that they would have kicked your ass anywhere in New England, in Miami, in Germany, in Mexico, you name it. If Tua was healthy, they were going to beat you. And Tua hasn't lost to you yet. So the Dolphins, I have at 12-5. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. That defense is still super solid. When they get Jalen Ramsey back at the end of the year, that could be something. The Jets at third at 10-7. I do think this Jets hype is getting a little out of control, just a little bit. I think the Rodgers is in for a tough year. It's going to be a harsh awakening, I think, to a lot of things. And as much as I like a lot of the pieces on the roster, Garrett Wilson is an absolute stud. I love Garrett Wilson. I love Breece Hall. Dalvin Cook is a good addition. That offensive line is bound to get better. Sauce Gardner on that defense. As much as all of his highlights are defensive pass interference, I have yet to see a Sauce highlight that wasn't DPI. He's a really solid player. Quinton Williams is a beast, and yeah, I think the biggest thing with the Jets and why I don't have the Patriots over them is if this was last year and the Jets had Aaron Rodgers on his worst day would have won both those games. The only reason you won was because Zach Wilson was handing you the ball.
Yeah, not good.
And unfortunately, I have in last place the New England Patriots with a winning record at 9-8. Things are getting better, but you're in a stacked division with probably the worst roster on paper. I don't know how much more you want. It's brutal. Without a number one wide receiver, without a fantastic defense, which I think our defense has always been a little overrated. We falter after Thanksgiving consistently. There's a really small room for error, and the Patriots will use all of it and maybe go a little bit overboard, and that's why I have them at 9-8. But Ryan, let's go to you. Let's recap this division.
Buffalo 12-5. They're still gonna win the division, sadly. I hope they don't. I hope Josh Allen falls off a cliff. I hate the Buffalo Bills, all my passion. Sadly, 12-5. I have the New York Jets at 11-6. I think they're a pretty good roster. You know, they needed a quarterback all along. They got one. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is still, 2014, 2013 vintage, but he'll win you football games. He'll win you more. They were fine with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson tried to hand the other team games, and we'll go over. I have a spicy offensive player of the year take off the Jets that we'll talk about later, but I think they'll be good. I have Miami, and this is a team I think is a little overrated, Caleb. I'm sorry. I have them at 10-7.
Okay.
I don't like Hill and Waddle are awesome football players. You can also argue they're the best duo in the league between them and Philly's duo. It's a track meet waiting to happen. I don't like their O-line. I think Tua's a ticking time bomb, sadly, because he hasn't shown to be durable. And I think their defense is very mid. Now, Vic Fangio's their defensive coordinator. Now, Vic Fangio's been pretty good, but if I look at the personnel of the roster, I don't see a lot of Vic Fangio type guys there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of they're a finesse football team that needs to become a gritty, hard-nosed, tough team. And I just don't see it yet in them. And then last place, I have the Patriots at 9-8. They're fine. The Patriots are fine. Sadly, because we have, this is the Patriots show. They're the worst roster in the East right now. Belichick can only win you so many games. I don't. Mac is Mac. We'll see. Hopefully,
we're talking about the Patriots again. In the grand scheme of the NFL here, like we're pretty positive on the Patriots as far as year to year, but when I think it's necessary that we zoom out here and we're like, okay, well, how do they rank against the guys we're going to be playing? How do they rank in, can they make the playoffs? Is the picture lining up for them? Is the schedule going to fall a certain way? What do they need to get into the playoffs? Again, internally, we are very high on the steps that this team is taking. But when you zoom out here, you're still you're not that much different than last year on paper. And this is what this is. This is on paper.
And O'Brien can only win you so many games as a new OC as well. Yeah, I have them going 3-3 in the division, 500. I think they're going to win some games they should win. They're going to lose some games they should lose. That's just how it's going to go this year, sadly.
Yep. And then let's just dive right in. You don't need to share your playoff picture. Just tell me the Super Bowl and who wins it.
A rematch is Super Bowl 54, Kansas City, San Francisco.
Oh, okay. And who wins?
For the first time since the New England Patriots in 2003, 2004, the Kansas City Chiefs go back-to-back.
I'm with you. I have the Chiefs taking over the Eagles in the Super Bowl rematch of last year. again, like I said, the Eagles are going to get hot at the end, and they'll make the Super Bowl because I don't think I had the Vikings as the second seed because this conference is just so whacked out, and the Vikings aren't making it past the second round.
Yeah.
So
it's wild.
And we've gone a little bit over what the time slot that we've wanted to, but it's okay. Let's just rapid fire our awards. We'll go back and forth. Starting with the coach of the year, I have Kevin O'Connell as the coach of the year. I think that Vikings team is going to go places. Winning that first playoff round, losing the second, but I think Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings are going to have a great year.
Yeah, I have Jim Harbaugh. What did I say, Jim? John Harbaugh. Sorry, all the stupid free Harbaugh shit today. I'm sorry. John Harbaugh.
Yep,
is going to win coach of the year for me.
Okay.
I just think Minnesota, or no, not Minnesota. Now I'm fumbling a little. I was so good earlier. Okay, so I think winning the dogfight over Cincinnati is going to propel them. They're going to have some close, clutch wins. Where Harbaugh's one of those guys that coaches with his guts. And a lot of these gutsy type coaches, they always get a lot of love. Like, oh, that was a ballsy win from the Ravens because Harbaugh went for it in fourth down, here. And that coaching decision won them the game and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think he'll win coach of the year.
Okay, so comeback player of the year. Let's not get too dressy over it. It's going to be DeMar Hamlin.
Yep.
For every reason.
Quite literally survived death on the field.
Yeah. It's DeMar Hamlin, and if you disagree with it, stop watching. Offensive rookie of the year. Bijan Robinson. I think it's pretty much a layout. Do you?
Yeah, I think it'll be either Bijan Robinson or Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is going to win Carolina a few games they shouldn't.
Got it.
And it'll be Bryce Young.
Okay. Defensive rookie of the year. I have Will Anderson in Houston. I think that award is typically skewed to pass rushers, and I think he's probably the best one of the bunch.
Yeah, I think it'll be Will Anderson as well. Most opportunity for playing time there. He's an elite football player.
Offensive player of the year. I have Justin Jefferson. He will receive one MVP vote, just like Cooper Kupp did in 2021. One MVP vote, but he'll win offensive player of the year because they tend to give those to the guys that don't win MVP.
Here's my hot take. My offensive player of the year is going to be Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
And I think he's the only true elite pass catcher on the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has taken a liking to him. And you look at how Rodgers and Devontae Adams connected in the past. Garrett Wilson's a similar type talent. I think he's a little more dynamic than Devontae Adams is, though, to tell you the truth. I think it's going to be a huge year for the guy.
And then defensive rookie of the year, not defensive rookie of the year, defensive player of the year. I have Micah Parsons of the Cowboys. He's an all around menace of a player. I mean, anywhere you put him on the field, he's gonna destroy you. He'll pick you off. He'll sack you. He'll force fumbles. He'll score touchdowns. I mean, he needs a coming out party, and I think this year will be it.
Yeah, he's a fringe generational talent out there. My defensive player of the year is going to be TJ Watt if he stays healthy. I think so highly of the guy. He's so awesome, man. He's a prototypical Patriot playing in Pittsburgh, though. But that's just an elite football player. Like 18, he's gonna have I think he's gonna average at least a sack a game, multiple forced fumbles. I think he might get a pick or two, maybe a touchdown. He's just elite.
And then MVP, I have Joe Burrow. We're on a rotation of quarterbacks. Really, Patrick Mahomes. He had Lamar.
The quarterback award.
And Josh Allen had some votes. I think he'll get some votes again. But give me Joe Burrow.
I have a little bit of a different pick. It's in the same division. Lamar Jackson.
Wins it again. Okay.
Yep. 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Yep.
So we did solid there. That was our NFL season preview. A little bit long-winded. I hope we gave you some solid content to listen to. Ryan, any last words before we sign off for the night?
We doing any hot takes or?
Oh, that's right. Okay. You know what? I didn't prepare any in my head, so you give me yours. Ryan's takes.
Ryan's hot takes. Well, I guess the Giants one was a hot take, but I think we could see the Arizona Cardinals go 0-17 this year. The first 0-17 team ever.
That's a mild take.
Okay. All right.
Well, let's move up the heat a little bit.
Up the heat?
Up the heat.
Okay. It would not shock, well, I'll do it for the Patriots here. It would not shock me if the Patriots actually finish second in the AFC East.
What is the path for that? Quickly.
Mac Jones takes a big leap. Bill O'Brien actually, has a competent offense. The defense some guys on the defense take leaps. The O-line surprises. And Gesicki, Juju, and Bourne and all of them, and the rookies take big leaps. And they do their jobs.
And you're also hoping for
some disaster classes from like the Jets and stuff, and like the Dolphins, and even the Bills.
So in similar position to where they were last year, with a win-it game against the Jets in Gillette Stadium in Week 18, like they'll have an opportunity. You think?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a take. That's a take for sure.
It's a hot take. It's probably not gonna be right. I'll be honest, but let's be a little biased here. Come on, it's a Patriots podcast. Let's have some fun.
No, absolutely. But yeah, we hit on that. So, any parting words before we sign off for the night?
No,
Okay.
I think I got all my.
You got it off your chest. Okay. Well, he's been Ryan Moore. I've been your host, Kaleb and Ryan. Thank you for listening to the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, and we will be here on Thursday for your listening enjoyment ahead of Week 1's game, the opening game of the NFL season between the Lions and the Chiefs. We will see you then. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.